Hello and welcome to Ellen Ruth Soap. I'm Ellen and today we're upstairs in my living room. Actually, that's my kitchen back there. I'm in the living room on the main floor of my house, and I figured I would just do a little chatty video about some things that are going on with Ellen Ruth Soap. A few things are changing, so this is just a chatty video. I'm not making anything today, and I'm probably going to film this video in a series of clips because I'm not sure everything that I want to cover. So I'm filming some today. I might film some more in a couple days, and this video will probably be a compilation of just several chatty bits. So if you're down for that, let's get into it. I had a really blessed sales season in Christmas of 2022 coming into the new year of 23. It was so wonderful. I was so blessed. The downside of that was I didn't have any time to spend with my family. My daughter would call me and say, you know, come up and see me and the kids. And I'm like, I can't. I have to be restocking and packing orders and everything. I am a one-man show. It's just me. Actually, I take that back. My sweet husband does all the bookkeeping for me, and I'm so thankful for that. He has a gift with numbers. I don't, and so he does my taxes and keeps track of all my receipts. I just have to remember to keep my receipts, and so, oh my word, he's a lifesaver. But as far as production line goes, video editing, photography, wrapping the products, shipping the products, all of it, that's just me. And it's a lot sometimes. And so I had to really rethink. I took some time. We went on a cruise and I spent some, after the holidays, spent some time with my family. And I just really had to kind of reassess at my age, 56 years old, where do I want to go with Ellen Ruth Soap? And what's my best step forward? So I was at the breaking point where I either needed to hire some help or scale back. And after a lot of prayer and thought and discussion with my husband, I've decided to scale back on my shop side. I love the YouTube channel. I have really been enjoying this. I love interacting with you all. I love watching other YouTubers as well. And so I want to keep making YouTube videos. I want to keep making soap and other bath and body products. But what I'm going to do is scale down in my shop to just carry the soap bars that I have made here on YouTube. And not necessarily restock. I really like the creative side. That's what I'm trying to say. And I will make micro batches of lotions and candles and salves and all the other things that I'm going to be making here on YouTube, bath bombs, shower steamers, you fill in the blank. I love making it all. I really do. And I have some really fun recipes that I've been working on upcoming. I've got some hair oil and different face products, and I'm so excited. But I'm going to be making these batches in micro batches and then just using it myself or gifting it to family and friends, and not selling non-soapy items in my soap shop. And that will keep things simpler on my end. Having to keep up with production when I'd sell out of a bath bomb or a lotion and having to go and remake those in the midst of, you know, my different soap production, it was just a lot for me to do alone. Thought at my age, I didn't plan on having a full-time production assembly line down in my soap studio, and that was what it was turning into. So the blessing was, I was overwhelmed with gratitude for all the orders. I really want to savor the time with my grandbabies and my children right now, and my husband. This last year has been an interesting year. My husband has had some pretty extraordinary health concerns in his life. I think personally, being a jet fighter pilot in the Marine Corps, he flew F-18s for his entire Marine Corps career. And there were a lot of environmental toxins that come along with that, as well as when they're dogfighting and locking each other in radar, a lot of radiation. And he's had some really strange health things happen. And this last year we had cancer. Me and my husband, we're one flesh. We're so bonded together. We've been married for 37 years, and I just feel like we're part of each other. So when I say we got cancer, that's kind of how it felt. He is currently today cancer-free, so I'm so thankful for that. But it really made me reassess how I want to approach my business. And I really, really love the YouTube side of it. So I didn't want to compromise on YouTube side and Instagram. I really love that interaction. I'm more social that way. And so what needed to scale back is going to be Ellen Ruth Soap Shop. So for the time being, I'm going to phase out non-soapy items and just carry the soap bars as they cure and come up. I'll list them in the shop. And some point I may actually phase that out too and start making smaller batches of soap and close the shop eventually. So I'm just giving you a heads up, that might be coming down the pike. I'm not sure. I'm open to things changing, but for right now, that's where I'm at. And I just really want to embrace the day with my family. And I don't want to get too busy to not be able to spend time with family. That became a priority for me. So in 2023, it's all about family for me and moving forward. So that's kind of where I'm going. I've had a lot of questions about, why aren't you restocking this product? Why isn't that in your shop anymore? Well, this is the reason why. So yeah, it took a lot of time and thought to go into that. And I'm not 100% rock solid, but I'm 98% sure that this is the trajectory that I'm going to stay on. So I hope that answers some questions in that area. All right, now let's get on to a few technical questions that I've gotten over the years, and so I figured I'd just try to wrap up some of these for you. One is, I am super technology challenged. I do all of my filming and photography. Like right now, I am talking to my iPad, and I use iMovie that came preloaded on my iPad. I don't have fancy editing software. I literally do all my filming and photography on my iPad. That's about as basic as you can get. So there's that. That's as much technology as I can do. And I've done over the last couple of years, this is my second iPad, so I will get every few years, I will get the newest model, and they'll have some things different on there, and then I have to relearn, and I am an old dog learning new tricks. So this is about it. So that's my filming equipment. In my studio, I do have a couple of big overhead photography lights that help keep things very, well lit on my table. And that's it for the filming and photography. And then for my website, I looked around, I had looked at Etsy and really toyed around, and this is several years ago, with opening an Etsy shop, but there were so many other soapers on there that were so established, and I just didn't feel like I wanted to go the Etsy route. So I got a Big Cartel website, and it was a very fair price, super simple platform. I mean, if I can figure it out, anybody can. And so I've kept it to this day. It is very basic. I've seen a lot of my soaper friends on Instagram have Shopify shops that look really beautiful. It seems like there's maybe a few more options to get really more customized on there, but Big Cartel, super basic, super simple, it's very affordable, and so that's what I started with, and that's what I still have. And it does have some limitations though, so if you're better at techie stuff, Big Cartel is pretty basic, but that's just what I use, and it's worked for me. So and now that I'm scaling back on my shop, I'll probably just keep going with that. So if you've ever been to my web store, you'll know it's not extra fancy, but it gets the job done. So that's my website. All right, so the next subject that I wanted to cover was dealing with comments and interacting with people on YouTube and Instagram, and when you kind of put yourself out there. If you are new to YouTube, or you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel or any public forum like that, you're going to inevitably run into criticism. And one piece of advice I got from before I started my YouTube channel, I did a lot of research, because I didn't think that I had thin skin, but it's hard not to take stuff on board. It's very personal when somebody says something, personal to you that they really don't like. So I can't remember the name of the YouTuber that I saw this on, but they were saying, if you want to start a YouTube channel, here's some things to know. And the piece of advice that she gave is very wise, and here it is. I'll share it with you. This is not my advice. I'm plagiarizing somebody else, and I can't remember their name, but it's this. If the comment has any grain of truth in it, so anytime I get a negative comment, I have to look at it objectively and go, is there something true in there? And kind of think about that. If it's just hate and somebody's having a bad day and just wanted to lash out, delete it, ignore it, whatever. But if they're making a constructive criticism in an unkind way, I have to back off and go, okay, is there any truth in here? For instance, a couple people have commented that I ramble or I giggle too much, and that really bothers them. And so I have to stop and go, you know what? I actually do ramble. When I go back to edit my videos, I repeat myself a lot, and that's not a great habit. So that might be something that I need to work on and refine as I get better at making YouTube videos. I don't want to irritate people. That's not my desire. And if I have a speaking habit that is not a good one, I need to learn from that. Now, you can say it in a nice way or you can say it in a rude way, but I have to look at the comments and go, okay, is there any truth in this comment? And if there is, let me think about it. So I do read, at this point in my YouTube channel, I read all of the comments left, negative and positive, and I appreciate them so much. Even the bad ones, sometimes they sting. Some people are just mean, but other people are saying something constructive, maybe in a not nice way. And so I definitely, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I need to listen to that. And so, and I don't necessarily answer every single comment, but I do read them all. So, and I want to thank you for interacting. It matters. And I do read them all. And I thank you for taking the time to watch the videos that I produce and comment on them. It really does mean a lot. And I appreciate you so much. When I say that at the end of my soaping videos, when I'm slicing the bars, I'm not just saying it, because it's a tagline. I'm saying it because I actually really genuinely do appreciate somebody taking the time to watch a video that I made. That's your time. Your time is precious. And so I do appreciate that. Actually, in the makers space and the soaping community, most people are so kind and generous. And if they have a criticism or a helpful hint, they say it in a nice way. The majority, I'd say, 98% is, or even 99%, is really coming from a good place and stuff. So I try really hard not to take on the negative. It's hard though, I'm human. My feelings can get hurt. So there it is. But at the end of the day, I think, what kind of a sad person would watch a video? I'm not forcing you to watch and, be so upset by something that they need to lash out. I think that's coming from a really sad place. And so it actually, when I get my feelings out of the way, it kind of breaks my heart a little that there's that many hurt people in the world. I know other YouTubers, especially like the beauty bloggers or the advice, column ones, they get hammered sometimes. And I'm like, wow, how do you guys put up with that? I'm impressed with some of my YouTuber friends that I follow that I see some of the comments they get and I'm like, whew, that's rough. My hat's off to them. So in the line of negative comments and things, we'll kind of segue into the next segment, which is sharing recipes and revenue. This is a big one. When you're a maker, when you have a business, I'm a soap maker. That is my business. I don't have a second job. This is my full-time job. Creating YouTube content, making soap, selling soap, developing recipes. That's my job. So for instance, I went back and forth whether I was going to show screenshots of some really obnoxious comments, and I decided not to. I'm just not even going to give them space on this video. But there's one comment that I will just briefly cover, and I'm not going to mention any names. A girl asked for my core Ellen Ruth Soap recipe, and I have never shared that recipe. It took me 10 years to develop and go through hundreds of different recipes and try, and I finally found the one that I really liked. It clicked, it was good. And so I have not shared that recipe. I've shared a lot of other cold process recipes that I love. So they are not, lower in the goodness range or anything. They're just not the one that I do on a regular basis. And I've considered making a PDF file and selling it in the shop, or one of these days, I might share my recipe. I'm not sure. It depends on the direction I go. But anyway, I'm holding that off for the time being and just, trying to think through how I want to market that or share that. So somebody asked, I get asked a lot, what's your recipe when I don't share a recipe? And I said, I don't share this particular recipe. And this girl lost her business. I mean, lost her mind on me. It made me think of when I read it, I started getting the giggles because I have a couple of 2-year-old grandchildren, and it reminded me of a 2-year-old just full on the floor, kicking and screaming. She threw a tantrum at me. And all kinds of hateful words, and I'm a fake, and I shouldn't be on YouTube, and who do I think I am? And oh my word, she really had a lot to say. That did not make her happy that I denied her this recipe. So first of all, let me just say that when a maker shares a formula or a recipe, that's generous of them. So don't criticize when somebody shares. And if they choose not to share, be respectful of that. And some people have chosen to have Patreon accounts, which I think are fabulous. That's a great format for those that want to take the time to do that. For me, that would add to my job instead of take away. And I'm in the process of trying to gain more time and not. So Patreon was an extra step that I really didn't want to go there. But I do have some YouTuber friends or soap makers that do have Patreons. And I think that is a really good, viable solution for a way to share things that you've spent a lot of time developing. Expecting people to give you that for free, there's a fine line that you don't want to cross as a person consuming YouTube. You shouldn't expect to get everybody's formulas for free unless that's the format. And I am trending towards that, where I want to share more recipes, like all my bath bomb recipes and salt soap and lotions. I have shared all of those and will continue to as I make new formulas and tweak them. I will continue to share those things, and I hope to share a lot more in the future. But I'm just, to be respectful of other people. As a maker, we spend a lot of time doing test batches and formulations and research and things. And so that's other YouTube. I'm defending other YouTubers. That's our revenue. That is, this is my job. So yeah. So all that being said, it's just to say to you all, I'm a person. I have feelings. Other YouTubers are real people with real feelings. And so if we don't share something that you want, ask in a nice way and respect the answer. That would be my that would be my go-to. But I do love sharing, and there are so many soapers and makers out there. Off the top of my head, Tara Lee. Oh my word, that girl shares everything, and in a beautiful format too. Love her. Whole Elise shares beautiful recipes. Love her. Holly's soap making. Beautiful. Love her. There's so many in my head, I can't even spit them all out. But YouTube is just an endless resource. So if I don't provide something that you're looking for, I know somebody else has it out there. So hopefully I will be providing more of what you're looking for. But anyway, there it is, the maker's life. You put it out there, you put yourself on a public forum, and some people don't like it, some people do. I think about this when I was a kid in junior high, way back in the day, early 80s. Kids would do this thing where they'd come up and grab your arm and like whack you in the face and go, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. And I think about that. I have some people that watch my videos and don't like each video and have a problem with each video. And I'm like, don't torture yourself, honey, please. You don't have to watch. Okay, nobody's twisting your arm. So that's kind of what I think of. I tend to have a sense of humor about things after I get past hurt feelings, but some things will give me inappropriate giggles, or I will take a funny view of it, and that's one of my coping mechanisms. So maybe that'll help you too. Try to laugh at situations. It's a good coping mechanism. So another thing I get asked frequently is, do I offer classes? No, YouTube is my class. Bringing you along as I make things, that's the class. I don't offer classes out of my studio or anything. That's just, I have done a couple of soap classes or maker classes, and they were really fun, but that's not really where my time investment needs to be right now. So nope, YouTube is it for classes. All right, now we're going to move on to a subject that I never planned on or thought I would cover in a YouTube channel, being a maker space that it is, but I've gotten asked a lot. on YouTube and Instagram about my own personal skincare routine. And I am not a beauty blogger by any stretch. I never intended to be. I don't want to be. Those girls are amazing. But let me just wrap it up in a nutshell. I'm 56 years old. I have a very simple skincare routine. One thing that I have really tried hard to do is learn to sleep on my back. Angie Hot and Flashy had talked about that being the best wrinkle treatment you can do, is to not smush your face in the pillow. And I was a stomach sleeper or a side sleeper with a real smushy face. So I'm trying to learn. I have not succeeded. If you have tips on back sleeping, I know there's special pillows, and I've tried a couple neck rolls. I think it's just more, I just need to develop the habit. So back sleeping is a tip for, you know, us ladies, that if you don't want the smush pillow face, that's a good tip from her. And also, I'll just say, because I'm not a beauty blogger, Angie Hot and Flashy has been my go-to for, she really vets out products and ingredients, and I really appreciate her channel very much. So she is a perfect resource. Please don't ask me a lot of questions. Again, I'm super simple. When I do a skincare routine, it's got to be basic. It's got to be something that I can do easily, or I'm not going to stick with it. I know that about myself. So I do soap and water. My own soap. Usually I'll grab a bar from my scratch and dent area that I just, any bar of soap that's either not attractive or it got dented. You know, I have been known to drop a soap bar occasionally, and so if it gets dented, that's one of mine. So soap and water, morning and night. I use a good moisturizer that I make. Usually in the winter, it will be a thicker, more buttery lotion, and I've shared a recipe for a really good emulsified body butter, but I use it as a face cream. And in the summer, I'll do a lighter weight, more watery lotion, a little faster absorbing, and then I do a retin-A treatment. I get mine from my tretinoin, not retin-A. Retin-A is a brand. Tretinoin is the drug. Tretinoin is the substance that I use, and I've been using it since my 30s. When I weaned my last baby, I breastfed all my kids, and I had terrible hormonal acne through my pregnancies and breastfeeding. Pretty rough skin, and so I had a dermatologist back then, and she put me on retin-A is what I was using back then, and so I just kind of kept using tretinoin off and on over the decades since my 30s. So I do that. And right now I'm currently using Agency tretinoin, and they do like a blend. Again, I followed, you know, Angie Hot and Flashy had recommended it. I think I actually used her link because I like to support other YouTubers. And that's something else. If a YouTuber that you really like has a discount code or something, I try to use their code so that it gives them a boost. You know, it's kind of paying it forward, I think. So I'm using Agency tretinoin, good moisturizer. Right now I'm having some dry flaky skin with my current tretinoin thing that I'm on, and so I have not been using my hyaluronic acid or vitamin C serums, but I will cycle into those once I get this dry, peely skin thing handled. That's one thing about using retin-A or tretinoins, is it can really give you flaky skin until you adapt to it. And I kind of jump in with both feet, and I didn't ease my way in, so I'm having to deal with really flaky skin. A little bit of a bugger, but you know, whatever. So again, that's my skincare routine. It's super basic. I did buy an LED light face mask thing that I'm trying, but I haven't been using it long enough to know if I saw any results or not. But it's super easy to use, and I can, you know, do it during other times where it's not interrupting my day. And then I know I can stick with something. If it's something that I can incorporate into what I'm already doing, and it's not going to be like a new time space for me, I'll throw it in there and work it anyway. So I'm trying that. You know, it's one of those things where as we get older, you know, try some stuff or don't. It's, you know, it's very personal, but I'm not a beauty blogger. I'm not going to give you advice or skincare advice. I'm just telling you what I do because I've been asked quite a few times. So there it is. It's really basic, not complicated, but there are other YouTubers out there in the you know, older woman category that have some great advice. So I will defer to them for all that information. Okay, so last but not least, I have been asked numerous times to do a soap studio tour. And I have not ignored you. I have heard each request, and I do want to do one. But currently, my soap studio is in a state of disarray. I just have never organized it the way that I want it to be. And so I am in the long-term process. I've started little snippets of video that I want to compile together to do a soap studio organizing video. And once I get it to a place where I'm proud of my studio, I will show you my studio. But right now, I am not very proud of my soap studio and the organized chaos that it is. And so, yeah, I think the organizing process will make a good video, and then the eventual tour of my final space, but it's a work in progress. So yeah, it's coming. I don't know when, but I am going to give you a soap tour, a soap studio. I keep saying soap tour. You tour my soaps every time I make them. I'm talking about the studio. I will be doing a tour someday, I promise. All right, so to wrap this video up, I've kind of been, it's been interesting. I should have taken better notes. I kind of feel like I've been all around and back again, but I hope you enjoyed today's chatty video. And if there's something that I didn't cover or you wish I had talked about, please let me know, because I do read all the comments, and I will take notes. If there's something that everybody's like, you didn't cover, you know, whatever, I'll cover it, I promise. So let me know if there's something you wish I had covered. And if you enjoy these kind of chatty videos, a little more personal, let me know that too. I'm very curious. So yeah, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much for joining the Ellen Ruth Soap team. If you've subscribed, I really am so thankful for that. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. I appreciate you so much, and have a wonderful day.